Hi, I'm Cynthia Mitchell, and this is a counseling appointment in which is an initial intake. I'm meeting with the client for the first time, and I will be talking about her problems, some of the symptoms she has, some of the difficulties, so that we can establish where we need to go with therapy, with counseling, with whatever therapies that need to be used. So that's kind of where we are and what we're doing with this. Lindsay, it's good to meet you, and we'll begin by getting a little bit of background and history of what's going on with you.
Okay.
Okay.
I've different symptoms. I'm very sad. And it's a celebration of when my dad died. And it's been really hard and tough for me. And I'm just needing some help with that.
Okay. What symptoms do you have? Do you have trouble sleeping? Do you cry? Do you have good days, bad days, all bad days?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. I sleep okay. A lot of times I sleep all day. And I push away a lot of people in my life. I just want to go home. And I just want to sleep every day.
Okay. This is normal. That you will feel this way, you will have trouble sleeping, you will have trouble eating. That's part of what it is, what depression is.
Mm-hmm.
What we're going to do is figure out how to get past that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what you need to know, is that this is not unusual when people have suffered a loss. So we're going to start by telling me about your family and your dad and how he died.
Okay. My dad, he had serious cancer that spread all throughout his body. He lost his hair. He lost his eyesight. I'm the only one that's really close to my dad in our life, so it was really hard. I wanted to find different things to help him, and I couldn't find anything. Slept for 2 days straight. I feel like my dad ignored those racing thoughts through his head and didn't. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Tell me about your family, brothers, sisters, mom. Were you together when your dad was sick and dying, or were they there at school?
Mm-hmm. My brother, so after my dad died, my family fell apart. My brother went to school and to college, and I feel like he wasn't really helping a lot and wasn't really paying attention to how people felt. And our family just really fell apart. And I tried to encourage people to get together, but I didn't know what to do to get them back together because it seems like everyone just escaped and didn't want to deal with their feelings and were interested in getting our family back together.
Uh, did How did you feel at that time? Do you feel like you could talk to your mom? You could talk to your. Does she have brothers and sisters? Okay. Do you feel like you could talk to your mom, talk to your brother? Did you talk about what was happening with you and your dad, and everything that was going on at that point?
In the past, I felt like I talked to my mom, yeah, but not recently. I talked to my brother a lot, but we don't really have a relationship anymore with my brother or my mom.
Okay. Um, when you go through loss and you're going through that process, a lot of times you're trying to learn how to, you're trying to cope with what's going on around you. And that can be very hard when you're by yourself. Tell her that.
Okay.
So ask her what did she do during that time? Who did she talk to the most? Friends? Was there her brother? Was there anybody she relied on for support?
No, I didn't really talk to anyone, and I talked to my dad before I lost him, but I did have friends before that, and I didn't really talk to them, but maybe they assumed that I didn't want to talk about it. I'm not sure, but I just didn't know what to do, and I didn't know how to reach out to them. I was scared and didn't know how to talk about it.
Okay. All right. How old was she?
Excuse me. Can you pause for interpreter, please? Um, do you mind if you ask the question right to Lindsay, please? Instead of saying ask her, can you just ask her directly questions? Thank you.
How old was she when her dad was diagnosed and when he died?
I'm 26 years old. I was 23, 24. I was 23 when he was diagnosed with cancer, but for the last 3 years, I was with him, and then now I'm 26 and I just lost him. Okay, excuse me. I am 26 years old right now, but he was diagnosed with cancer when I was about 20, and then he passed away when I was 24.
Okay. All right. That's at that point in life. It would make sense that there's a lot of transition because you're no longer kind of a kid, but you're not really an adult. So, apart from dealing with something extreme like a parent's death, you're already dealing with a lot of pressure and stress. So, to add to that makes it even harder, and that's where the depression comes from, is because you were dealing with problems of going from being, a kid to an adult, and then as you're doing that, you're also dealing with a huge amount of stress with your dad, being so sick. And so that's where depression comes in, because it's a coping mechanism, or it's the way you deal with this abnormal amount of pressure.
Okay, I understand that, but I understand that, but I'm not ready to drive off a cliff or anything like that. I want to enjoy life and improve my life. I want to grow flowers and improve and just get better. I just don't know how to do that.
It's hard to tell because it's a process. You can't. It takes for some people. I mean, it's not. There's not a quick fix. Just there's not a quick fix. I'm gonna talk for a while. Because you had gotten accustomed to, she got used to a certain way she's gotten used to a certain relationship, to a certain pattern of relationship within her family that was completely destroyed. And and at the time, you're not able to, reestablish what the relationships are. So then you're left kind of with a shambles, and rebuilding that is very hard.
I'm just not understanding how or what to do to relieve those struggles.
Okay. I have, my mother passed away when I was 22, and I had the same thing happen to me. Is this happening to you? There are two paths. There's counseling, and then there's medication. You can do each of those independent of one another, or if you do them in conjunction with each other, a lot of times it can be much more effective.
I'm really interested in counseling and just understanding and figuring out how to improve myself. So I'm really interested in that.
Um,
Yeah, I'm just ready to figure out what to do to improve my life because I just sleep so I don't have to think about my dad dying and I just want to numb and not think about it.
Depression is a physical manifestation of stress. There is an actual chemical imbalance that occurs, and that can be alleviated with medication. Some people choose just to do medication, which is a panacea. It takes care of the immediate problem, the immediate symptoms, but then long term it doesn't fix it. That's why you need counseling. But so there is an actual chemical imbalance that takes place in your mind, in your brain, with depression. It's not just sadness. Sadness is normal, but when your whole outlook on life is shadowed, then that is what depression is.
Yeah, I'm interested in trying medication as well.
Uh-huh. I'm going to draw a chart. Here you are. This is Lindsay. Here, okay? And this is where you want to be, okay? Like, to be happier. This is like happy, and this is sad. Okay? So we want you to come up here, right? Right? Okay. So it's not going to happen like this. You're just not going to go, it's not going to be, right? Right.
Oh, sure.
But it's also not going to happen like this. Just there's going to be, every day it gets a little bit better. But with counseling, what happens is you might have some bad days, and then you'll have a good day, and then but then it might go down again, and then it'll go back up. But it's all, on its way to where you're getting emotionally balanced.
I understand that now.
Okay, but it's going to be hard. Because we have to talk about what happened with your dad.
I remember when my dad's chemo, it was very hard to see my dad go through the chemo. It's very hard to help him. It was really hard on me. Mm-hmm. I really miss when my parents would help me in the past. I really wish they were here.
What we're going to do is work through. It's not just going to be it's not going to be a retelling of good times or bad times. It will be talking about how you thought about it, how you reacted to it, and how you coped with it that may have not been the best. And what we'll do is we'll go through, and through some therapies we can rework how you thought about what was going on so that you have a more healthy approach to what happened then.
Yeah. I have a question for you. Does depression relate to your physical body as well?
Yes, in different ways.
Because I've noticed that since my dad passed away, I just find it hard to live with my body, and it just physically, it's just really hard.
That's very natural. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll schedule, we'll start to schedule times at least once a week where we can start to isolate and identify some of the things we need to work with or work on.
That sounds great. Once a week sounds great.
Okay, and in conjunction with trying to, look at her past, we'll also talk about things she can do now, which might help with just day to day.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, great.
I will work on my emotions. And I also work on my feelings every week, and and I'll try to think about the situation and how I can improve and move on.
Perfect. Great. Okay. I think is that all they need?